The Kansas City Chiefs offense has finally crossed the threshold from being notoriously annoying to contain to just outright dangerous. Alex Smith and Travis Kelce are having the best seasons of their careers, Tyreek Hill is establishing himself as one of the premier offensive threats in the league, and rookie running back Kareem Hunt is on the fast track to the Offensive Rookie of the Year award. They have so much speed, so much versatility, and so much misdirection built into their offensive scheme that it's no wonder they're top 5 in the NFL in points per game and top 7 in yards per game. Make no mistake about it, the Chiefs are an offensive team now through and through. So when looking at all these weapons and all these numbers, how did a very statistically average defense in the Dallas Cowboys thoroughly dominate Andy Reid's system? Well, to me, it all comes down to game planning. Cowboys defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli didn't just figure out how to stifle Kansas City, he laid out the blueprint for how to make Alex Smith's life a living hell. The first step to stopping the Kansas City Chiefs is an easy one: load the box at all times. Whether that means putting 6 men inside against spread looks or 8 men inside against 12 personnel, you always have to outnumber their blockers up front or they'll just smash it right down your throat. You cannot give Kareem Hunt easy yardage, or by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, he will eat you alive. Second, while you drop that safety in the box, don't be afraid to play aggressive single high safety coverages and bring as much pressure as possible. The Chiefs cannot pass protect for long periods of time. Both statistically and just on the eye test, they're not a very good pass protection unit, so you have to exploit that. They want to take shots downfield to Hill and Kelce, but if Smith doesn't have time to take those shots, then guess what? All of their speed doesn't matter. A wide receiver that can run 4-2 streaking down the sideline literally does not matter if his quarterback is forced to throw early or take a sack. Third, avoid playing too many soft zone coverages that have no disguises built in. They will pick you apart every single time because they still have a lot of West Coast passing concepts built into their scheme that can tear up basic cover 2 and cover 3. They'll try to force you into zone looks with stacks and bunches to make it easier on Smith, and that's okay. You can still play those coverages, but if you have to play those zones, just disguise it as much as possible with zone blitzes and post-snap coverage rolls. You have to give them one zone look pre-snap and a completely different look post-snap to keep Smith guessing and force him to hold the ball long enough for the pass rush to get home. Just like against the run, when you're playing against the Chiefs passing game, you absolutely cannot make it easy on them with simple coverages that allow quick reads and quick throws. You have to match their aggression with a lot of aggression of your own. Fourth step, and perhaps the most important one of all, have corners that are not afraid to play the run. Kansas City looks to command the edges with their playmakers more than any other team in the NFL. So as a defense, your corners have to be able to set that edge and make a tackle in space. There is no exception to that rule. If your corners cannot set an edge, you will lose the game, period. We saw that against the Patriots in Week 1 on this 58-yard run from Hunt. The Chiefs are in 13 personnel with 3 tight ends on the field, and all 3 of them are trips left with what's called a nasty split. Nasty split meaning they're right next to the offensive tackle. This should immediately be a red flag to everyone on the Pats defense that Kansas City's going to try to get the ball to the edge. Whether it's a pin and pull toss play like the one they're running here, or a counter tray, or maybe a screen or a designed swing pass, it doesn't matter. New England's first priority here needs to be getting outside and securing the edges against whatever play they're about to run. Every time Kansas City uses a look like this, they're trying to get to the boundary and get a home run, so it's on the Patriots' corners and safeties to keep that from happening. Watch Malcolm Butler here after the snap. He identifies the toss is coming his way and Travis Kelce is bearing down on him in space as the lead blocker, but instead of doing his job and focusing solely on getting outside, he hesitates slightly and takes on the block directly, ultimately getting cut down and allowing Hunt to get to the corner. This huge gain would have never happened if Butler just did his job, ran straight towards the boundary and forced a cutback. He doesn't need to make the tackle here. He's not supposed to take on a block or make a tackle. He's literally just supposed to position himself outside, but because of that hesitation, he failed to do that. Contrast that to the Cowboys last week in the red zone. The Chiefs are running a sweep with Tyreek Hill, and the principle to stop it is basically the same. Have the corners get outside on the edge and force the cutback into the teeth of the defense. Watch rookie Jordan Lewis identify the sweep and immediately turn and sprint to the sideline. He knows his job isn't to make the tackle, it's to get outside of that block on the edge and take away that running lane. He's hauling ass with one purpose and one purpose only, and it's not to take on that block, but to get completely in front of it. Lewis doing his job allowed Orlando Scandrick to catch up and shoot the gap inside for the tackle, and they lived to fight another down. It is a team effort to stop all these misdirection runs that the Chiefs use every single week, and that team effort starts with disciplined corner play outside. If you don't have disciplined corners, Kansas City will murder you on these kind of plays. They'll absolutely kill you. Now, throughout the game, because the Cowboys had disciplined edge run defenders on the outside, they were then able to get upfield and be ultra aggressive inside because they knew they could rely on those edge defenders to force Hunt straight into them. They brought run blitzes, they ran line slants and line stunts, and did everything they could to shoot every gap they could as fast as possible, and it worked. Hunt really only had one good run all game because of an egregious holding penalty that was for some reason not called, but for the rest of the afternoon, he basically went nowhere. That's what you got to do against this run game. Be as conservative as possible outside and as aggressive as possible inside. Against the pass game, like I said earlier, you have to be willing to take your chances with man coverage and also match the Chiefs' misdirection with misdirection of your own. You look at this snap late in the third quarter where the Cowboys are showing cover 6 against the Chiefs' bunch formation, which is what they were doing pretty much throughout the day. In a lot of defensive schemes, the Cowboys included, a bunch formation is an automatic check to cover 6 because they're trying to avoid rub routes against man. But look at Orlando Scandrick here drop down late and bring a blitz off the edge. So post-snap is not actually cover 6 like the Cowboys were showing throughout the game, but really a mixed man-zone look with man coverage against the bunch and zone on the backside. Marinelli showed one look pre-snap, which he had been showing all game long leading up to this, and then he brought an entirely different look post-snap along with extra pressure against an average at best offensive line. By the time Smith hit his last step in his drop back, he had bodies all over him and he had to step up right into a sack. He actually had multiple receivers wide open too, but like I said before, it doesn't matter how dangerous your weapons are if the quarterback is flat on his ass. There was another great example of combining confusion with man coverage early in the first quarter on a 3rd and 4 situation. Dallas is showing kind of an ambiguous look here. It could be cover 6, it could be cover 2 man, it could be some sort of exotic pressure from cover 1. Smith doesn't really know yet, so he gives a hard count to try to see what shell they jump into. Watch the safety Xavier Woods here. After the hard count, he moves over to put what's called a cap on Tyreek Hill, which is a huge red flag that this corner Jordan Lewis is blitzing off the edge. Smith points Woods out and shifts protection, and you can see the offensive line acknowledging that protection as well. But Woods isn't actually capping on Hill, and Lewis isn't actually blitzing. He was just bluffing to get into Smith's head and screw with his protection calls, which resulted in DeMarcus Lawrence being given a one-on-one matchup on the other side, which of course he immediately dominated because he's DeMarcus Lawrence. Now, post-snap in coverage, it's not cover 6 or cover 2 or an exotic pressure like the one Woods was trying to bluff. It's just a straight-up 4-man rush with cover 1 hole on the back end. Cover 1 hole is a single high shell with man coverage across the board and one zone defender over the middle, called the hole defender. It's a great 3rd and medium play call because it forces Smith to make a tight window throw no matter what because he's throwing into man coverage, while the hole defender also acts as a robber to threaten Smith's favorite area of the field to work in, the short middle. He's made a career in Kansas City out of finding Travis Kelce over the middle of the sticks and converting first down after first down. But with tight man coverage and a zone defender hanging inside, that takes away Smith's favorite target and his favorite area of the field. Now, that being said, he still throws this ball anyway because, well, he's Alex Smith and he's still a creature of habit, so it's predictably broken up. Again, this is all about Rod Marinelli knowing his opponent, knowing what he likes and what he doesn't like, and making the perfect play calls to shut those tendencies down. You really, truly could not call a better game against Kansas City than Marinelli did last Sunday. Despite the Cowboys not exactly having a ton of Pro Bowl talent on that defense outside of some obvious names like Lawrence and Sean Lee, their schematic advantage and execution was so far above Kansas City that it ended up being their best performance of the year. Were there still a few big plays here and there? Of course, the Chiefs are explosive, and no matter what, they're going to break something off eventually, like that Tyreek Hill screen, Hail Mary, whatever the hell it was at the end of the first half. But the point is that Kansas City had far fewer explosive plays and far fewer sustained drives against the Cowboys than they did against almost everyone else this season because the Cowboys knew how to game plan against that explosiveness. They were reading this Chiefs offense like a book, and now that tape is out there forever. Every team the Chiefs play from here on out are going to be looking at this game and trying to emulate what Dallas did that day, and believe me, there are a lot more talented defenses still left to play on their schedule. Whether it's the Broncos, the Chargers, or maybe even the Bills, if any of those fast, aggressive defenses execute this same game plan as well as the Cowboys did, I'm telling you now, even as good as they are, the Chiefs could be in big, big trouble. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode, which is again sponsored by our friends over at the BetDSI Sportsbook. Obviously, teams possibly cracking the code of this Chiefs offense, so to speak, is going to be affecting how you're going to be picking these games going forward. And if you want to make some extra Chris Mahana Kwanzaa money off those picks, BetDSI is offering all viewers of the Film Room a free $25 in wager credits to use with promo code FILM25, obviously at no cost to you. You can win real money with those free wagers, and when you win, you get to keep it. That money is yours. I've had viewers turn that one wager credit into hundreds of dollars so far, and you could too. So if you want some extra money for presents, or maybe getting a new TV for your Super Bowl party in a couple months, give BetDSI a shot, use our promo code to get free wagers, and see how much money you can win in the process. As for myself, I'll be back next week with another full Film Room episode. I'm finally married and the wedding craziness is dying down, so ideally my video schedule will be a bit more regular going forward, but either way I'll have something for you next week at some point. I just don't know what or who will be on quite yet. But until then, later.